Jordan, we've been in spring practice for a little bit now. A lot has happened, and obviously Clemson just finished their first scrimmage of spring practice. Dabo Swinney met with the media today, had some comments. What were your big takeaways from kind of his comments on spring practice and this first scrimmage that they just went through?
Yeah, I mean, I think the overarching theme from his comments was this staff is really challenging this group, both sides of the ball. But there has been a challenge to this group to get better. He hasn't been shy about calling out certain players. He hasn't been shy about saying when they're not playing well, when there's been a lack of effort. So he talked about this most recent scrimmage, and he said that it was a mixed bag. I mean, essentially, the offense had its moments. K. Klubnik, he described K. Klubnik as a pretty average performance for him. Like he was like checked out, like he went to Cancun already or something. And so spring break is coming up, so
that's right. Yeah.
He felt like okay, they were fine, but he highlighted some players. Tristan Smith was a guy that he noted, made a couple of really nice plays, and he said, he's got to stack more days like that and stack and as he's coming along. He was very complimentary of Gideon Davidson. He looks like a natural, even 8 days into practice. He's picking up things really fast. Defensively, I think he was the most critical of the young cornerbacks. He ripped into them pretty good. He said that group is not nearly good enough. He mentioned guys like Brandon Strozer, Corian Gibson, Tavoy Fegan. Like he said, they were not nearly good enough. And that the emphasis, one of the emphasis of this spring is making sure that they are developing and getting them ready to play, because they were not nearly good enough. And so I think just the overarching theme was that there's a much more hard-nosed mentality about holding these players accountable.
Yeah.
Nobody expects the first scrimmage to go, everybody plays well, and that's just not how these things work. And so people got exposed today. That's essentially what it sounded like. And doesn't make me concerned or anything. Like that's how football works. You're going to have days where that's how you get better, and how players get better. There's going to be days where they don't, even as a position group, they don't play well. So, I think there is a collective understanding from this staff that we got to get these guys ready to go, because this team can be really, really special.
Yeah.
And we need to get the most out of these guys, make sure we're prepared to get the most out of these guys that we possibly can. And that means a lot of tough love, there's going to be a lot of hard days. There's going to be a lot of hurt feelings, probably.
Right.
And that's how Tom Allen, has approached it, and how he talked about it. There is a understanding that by any means necessary, obviously that are ethical, not any. We're not turning into Bob Knight, the football version of Bob Knight over here, but like you need to get these guys ready to go, and there are a lot of guys that need to take massive steps forward this spring in order to get this team where it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you really hit on the core of, I think, what Dabo Swinney's comments were kind of centered around today. And that is bringing out the best in this group, because I think we all think as Clemson fans, and I think he thinks as the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, that this 2025 group has the ability to, really make some noise in college football this season and really make probably a postseason run if everything goes right. But part of that process is early in spring, you gotta tear some of these dudes up, right? You got to get these guys laser focused into improving and becoming the best versions of themselves that they can be for the 2025 season. He didn't really pull any punches on those young corners today, and you love to see it, right? You mentioned the, kind of his little slights at Cade as well. Just challenging guys. And that's what you want to see, especially early in spring. You want to see these guys being challenged. Like it shouldn't just be, all roses and daisies and, everything's wonderful this early in spring practice, right? And with a guy like Tom Allen coming on board, and you heard early on when he met with the media, his comments about, the reason that he goes about things a certain way, the reason that his main focus when he got to campus was learning and knowing his guys, right? And learning them on a personal level so that now when they're in the thick of spring practice, he's lighting them up, right? Yeah. And he's holding them to the standard that they talked about previously when he had those one-on-one meetings with him, right? And their goals and what they want to see out of their time at Clemson. Now, here comes the time where that bill's due, right? And Tom Allen and company are holding these dudes accountable. It's fun to watch. It's going to produce better players, and it's going to contribute in a big way to this 2025 season. So I love hearing it. I love it. That's what you want to hear out of spring practice. This ain't about, painting the prettiest picture in spring, because we ain't about to play a game right now. Right now is about working on Clemson and getting better as individual football players. And ultimately, that will help with the team goals in 2025.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys listening will like to hear, and be happy to hear that Dabo has seen improvement in the tackling.
There you go.
He's seen improvement in the tackling. So I wanted to throw that in there. The tackling was much, seemed to be much better. That's good. I know that seems like, this is a college football team. They should know how to tackle. Oh, yeah. Well, did you watch last year?
Turn on the tape from last year.
Turn on the tape from last year. So, being fundamentally sound has definitely been an emphasis for this group defensively, and with Tom Allen coming, he said, we're going to do the basics right. That's the first things first. And the mentality, there's just been a different energy on that side of the ball. And honestly, it seemed like the defense actually had a solid day. They had, like I said, the young corners got exposed a little bit. But overall, the defense had a pretty decent day. I think they would based on their comments, I would characterize it as the defense having had slightly won the day. Which is to kind of be expected in spring, especially the first scrimmage. Typically, the offense is behind, and that'll probably be the case when fall ball rolls around. But the comments from Dabo and the rest of this staff have really given you a lot of encouragement about how they're going about this offseason, how they're going about this spring practice and getting these guys ready to go, and where there's a very clear understanding of what needs to get better, who needs to get better, in order for this team to be what we think it could potentially be.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to hearing more news coming out of spring practice as they continue and have a couple more scrimmages, ultimately culminating in the spring game that I know we're all excited to watch. So we'll continue to bring you updates as we get them from the coaches and the players, and news comes out about what is happening at spring practice